Hello there, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to episode 177 of Dude and a Monkey. My name is Ian Loring, and as always I'm joined by...
Mark Foster. Hello everybody.
So this week it is a double review. We are going to be taking a look at Blair Witch, which I saw like 2 weeks ago, so it's going to be fun for me to remember that film. And also Hunt For The Wilderpeople, Taika Waititi's very much acclaimed New Zealand comedy. We'll also do some what we watched in Twitter questions and all the usual. And I suppose that's the intro. Mark, anything happening generally or in the world of film, or anything you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Everyone kind of getting their fucking panties in a wad about a promotional still from Jumanji 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and absolutely flipping their shit about it to the point of where the actual actress in question has actually come out and gone, hang on a minute, you have no idea of the context, just wait and see, because the joke is a good payoff. And it's a little bit like that. I actually had a nice, because I wasn't near the person because it was via direct message. But it's somebody who follows me on Twitter, but I wasn't near them because they asked me to do it of a direct message, so I can say what it's about without actually naming them.
Yeah.
I have a feeling she does listen to the podcast as well.
Okay.
And I had a nice discussion with her about it, and she is a defined feminist.
Yeah.
Which I do think is different to being a general feminist, because I would count myself as being a feminist, absolutely, but it's not something, I don't define it myself as it. It's not the fucking second thing in my Twitter profile and everything like that. So I was having a conversation about it, and a very cordial conversation that didn't get out of hand, and it was a very adult conversation, and we were bouncing forwards to kind of the sexual politics of things like that, to the point of where I kind of said, well, the problem is, nobody knows the plot yet. There could be a very good reason. It could just be, the fact is that it sells. It does, and whether or not that's right or wrong, it is immaterial. It's a hardened fact that I'm happy to go and see that film, not because she's in that, but you know what? I ain't gonna fucking complain. But the other point that she was making was that it was disgusting that in our day and age, nowadays in 2016, that Karen Gillis should be ashamed to be on set dressed like that. And I kind of took exception to it and said, hang on a minute, wait a minute. Maybe she picked that outfit out. Maybe there was a lot of outfits that went, well, this is the outfit. She went, I like that one. I like that one. Because she looked at it and thought, you know what? I'd look good in that. And I said, now you're saying this woman can't wear this because why? It was a fucking promotional still.
Yeah.
Everyone just fucking flipped their shit about it, and it was that whole furore was an exact kind of example of the fact is that so many people are just sat waiting to be pissed off about something, and then as soon as somebody goes, oh, well, I'm not about this, everyone goes, oh, no, me neither. Well, I'm even more angry about it. No, I'm more angry than you. I am more angry than anybody has ever been about anything. I think they've dealt with it quite well by going, why don't everyone just wait and see what's going to happen? It is literally a fucking picture.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the actress herself has actually come out and said, chill the fuck out, I think takes an awful lot of air out of the balloon.
Yeah, it does, and it was cool that she came out and did it. That she, and the fact that she did it in such a, she didn't kind of have a go or anything like that, but she very much did just kind of go, oh, can everyone just calm down and just maybe wait for context?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that was pretty cool that happened. But she's gone up in my estimations quite a lot because I found her an irritating person before that, to be honest. But But yeah, I thought dealing with that was quite cool. But no, I want to avoid the fucking other big thing that happened between movie people that has no place in fucking anything.
Yeah. For a second, I thought you were talking about Bake Off, but
No,
you were very active about that on Twitter today.
yeah, I was actually. I don't know why.
Yeah, got very, very annoyed about Paul Hollywood.
Geez, I wasn't. I was kind of just half taking the piss, but I still maintain that Paul Hollywood does look like the kind of guy who'd send dick pics to himself.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
He does. Doesn't he? He looks like he'd just go. He'd send a picture and go, put his phone back in his pocket, and then go, "Ooh, I've got a message. Oh, it's Paul's penis. Oh, wonderful." And it's funny, man. Who messaged you? No.
Moving on. Trailers.
Quite a few actually, I think.
Yeah, no, I've got a couple. Yeah, go on, man.
Cool. The sneak peek for Ghost in the shell, which is 16 seconds long.
Oh, yeah, bag of whatever in it. It's not a trailer. It's a teaser.
It's a blink. Mm-hmm. It's a flipper book. Mm-hmm. I'll fucking wait for an actual fucking trailer. Trespass Against Us, the Brendan Gleeson and Michael Fassbender play. I think it's gypsies, travellers, caravan dwellers. I don't know what's the correct vernacular that we're allowed to call them, but we'll go with that.
One of those ones,
family drama kind of thing. Looks really good, actually. Looks really good, to be honest. It's actors with those people involved. You kind of like, do you know what? You had me at Fassbender and Gleeson. Mm-hmm. But then I watched the trailer and thought, I read a little bit, not about it, but kind of like the synopsis of it and thought, oh God, that sounds a little bit, and then watched the trailer and went, oh no, that's fine. We're in good hands. Nice. So yeah, that looks pretty fucking good. Have you seen that trailer yet?
No, I haven't.
Looks good. Some really, really nice visuals in that, to be honest, which you wouldn't expect from what it's, you know, the kind of the synopsis and what it's about. But there is some really fucking cool visuals in it. What else have we got? So I keep trying to go into the thing that I watched trailers on, but there we go. Nocturnal Animals. Did we talk about this last week?
I don't think
we did.
So,
I think it came out like a couple of days after, maybe. The new Tom Ford film. It looks. It's got a very kind of De Palma, Lynch kind of feel to it. The fact that you've got. I read a little bit about it, and then I found myself reading about it and going, no, what am I doing? What am I doing? I don't want to read about this. This sounds good.
Yeah.
And then just literally just like swiping away the article. And going, have I ruined it for myself now that I know this certain nugget of information? But yeah, I mean, that cast, to be honest, sells it again with Jake Gyllenhaal, Amy Adams, and Michael Shannon, but looks really fucking good. And you know, A Single Man was, 5 years ago now? And it does seem like Tom Ford does these out of sheer sort of passion for them. And A Single Man did show that he has a bit of an eye for this kind of thing. And he does seem like the kind of guy who he'd only do something if he knew that it would be good and it would be what he thought it was, rather than just a fucking vanity project. Sure. He seems a little bit too smart and a little bit too savvy to do that. And the fact is, in the fashion world, he hasn't really shied away from controversy. In fact, he's greeted it kind of head on. It kind of, when you sort of you transfer that to what this film could be about and what could be happening in this film, it could be really fucking quite interesting, to be honest.
Nice. That sounds good.
Yeah. What else have we got that I've watched? Fist Fight.
Yeah, I've just watched this before we.
Yeah. Again, if you explain it to me, I'd go, that sounds awful. And then I watched the trailer and went, that looks awful. And then in the back of my mind, it just went, you're going to watch it, though, aren't you? I was like, yeah, I am. Yeah, I will. I'll watch it. And do you know what? I'll probably laugh. And then I'll finish like, that was shit, but I kind of quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Looks like
Pretty much. I agree.
Yeah. What else have we got? The Whole Truth. The new Keanu Reeves and Renee Zellweger. Keanu Reeves returning to the courtroom.
Yeah.
It looks alright, to be honest. Again, one that I'll watch, but it looks like a thorough Tuesday night Netflix fucking watch, rather than an actual, I'll be waiting for it to come out of the cinema. Mean Dreams. Bill Paxton plays a badass cop. Looks really quite fucking bleak, but quite good. In a similar vein to things like Mud and stuff like that. Yeah, it looks really quite interesting, actually. I'll be looking out for that. London Town, the Clash kind of biopic, in a similar vein to Velvet Goldmine.
Yes.
The film.
Yes. Yes.
Hello?
Hi. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Where it was kind of like they couldn't actually get the rights to do a Bowie film, so they kind of had a character that was Bowie but wasn't really Bowie, and there was bits of Elton John thrown in there. But you had a story at the other side of it, which happened to star Christian Bale, and then you had Jonathan Rhys-Meyers in it. Well, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers is actually playing Joe Strummer in this.
Okay.
But there's a side story to it as well. It's kind of like the story of the Clash, whilst also having this kid becomes a punk thing at the other side of it. It's a wait for reviews one, to be honest.
Okay.
And the final one is Passengers, the Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt movie, which I've watched the trailer, so I've kind of seen the film now, so I don't really need to see that.
Yeah, I mean, like, the bloody spoilers for the trailer, I suppose, but I was a little annoyed that we saw Lawrence Fishburne in there.
Yeah.
It's like, right, okay, well, we are going to see some other people then, so brilliant. All right, then. It would have been, because it would have been great if you went in thinking it was just those two, and then it wasn't. That would have been fun.
Yeah, it would have kind of like thrown a little bit of a this is pretty cool then. But yeah, it was a little bit like, all right.
Yeah. Even though, I mean, I think it looks good, and I like the idea of an original sci-fi film with two big stars actually coming out over Christmas. Like that. That's pretty promising, I think. I wish it was a bit more inspired than this kind of looks like it's gonna be. I mean, I will say, I mean, obviously Michael Sheen was in the trailer too, but he's a robot, so it doesn't quite count him being a person, I suppose.
He's only in it from torso up.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I quite like the director. I mean, Headhunters I liked, and I didn't hate The Imitation Game, so we'll see.
Actually, we quite like The Imitation Game. I was surprised. I put it off, to be honest, because I thought it looked incredibly BBC drama-y and a bit dull. To be honest, then when I watched it, I really really quite liked it. I thought it kind of made me go, oh right, I'm the arsehole approaching this Ben. I was the dickhead to this film.
Sure, yeah, no, I get what you mean. I had that approach as well. But Passengers. We'll see. Totally, we'll see.
Yeah.
Anything
we'll else from
it? So.
Anything from your end that I've missed?
Actually, no. I thought I had more than that, but I didn't. So yeah, no. That's it for me as well. Shit. Okay. Okay. Well, let's move on then. What do you want to do first?
I'm good with you either. Let's go with I'll go with whatever you fancy going with.
Oh, sorry. Just a sec. What's up, Don? Okay, no worries. Sorry about that. So let's do Blair Witch. Just before I forget it completely. So Blair Witch, directed by Adam Wingard and written by his long-term writer, director partner guy, Simon Barrett. Stars people. I don't have IMDb up, so hang on. That's a bit disrespectful, isn't it? So.
James Allen McEwen, Callie Hernandez, and other people.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, that'll do. Thank you. So, James Allen McCune plays James, who is the brother of the original film's Heather. Somehow, must have been like 1 at
It was
the time.
4.
Oh, 4.
It was
Okay.
4 apparently. Yeah.
Fair enough. And he finds a video someone uploaded to YouTube of what he thinks is his sister in the house from the end of the first Blair Witch Project. He kind of teams up with kind of love interest Lisa, played by Callie Hernandez, and friends of theirs, to go and visit the people who uploaded the video. Those people then want to tag along to go into the woods. Everybody goes into the woods, and wouldn't you know it, the Blair Witch kind of takes hold of the situation. So, Blair Witch, the scariest film ever made, apparently. Mark, were you terrified to your core?
Well, I went to see this on Monday morning at 10:20, which has become my new jam. It's become my new time to go and watch films. I'm liking it. I was in with one other guy who, when he came in, was wearing a House Left Thousand Corpses t-shirt, and I had a Freddy Krueger tattoo. I swear to God, I am not kidding. Had a Freddy Krueger tattoo on one forearm, and on the other forearm, he had a Michael Myers tattoo.
Brilliant.
And I thought, yeah, he's like me. He's gone. I am not going to watch this fucking film at 7 o'clock on a Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going at the time when Juliet, and he has, as he's walked in, he's looked at me and thought, I hope that fucking dickhead don't fucking use his phone during this movie.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm not using my phone during this movie because that man looks terrifying. And I wouldn't anyway. So Blair Witch started. And yeah, it's the scariest movie ever made, and it's a game changer. Beyond what the original was, which was a game changer. No word, getting around it. It was a game changer, not just in horror, but in the way in film in general. To be honest, we can't escape that fact. And it starts out all right. The opening's good. You're introduced to the characters, and they're pretty basic horror characters, and we're filtering through, and it's interesting, and they get to the forest, and everything's ticking along, and you go, you know what, I'm all right with this. It's okay, and the noises start happening, you go, I'm okay with this, and then it just does exactly what you think it's gonna do, and you go, right, all right, hang on a minute, wait a minute, when are you gonna change the game? When are you going to do the best horror movie ever made? When are you going to do something new? Oh, and then it finishes and you go, you're like the Thing prequel, remake, sequel. You're just the same movie. Oh, that's disappointing. And that's how you come out of it. There are a few effective bits in it, but I genuinely, and we'll get to that review and those comments later on.
Yeah. Let's not do that right now.
Because I do think there is a little discussion for us to have about that. The performances are all right, the script's all right, everything's all right, but that's it. It's just all right, which makes me then draw to the conclusion of, if it's just all right, what's the point? You're not doing anything new at all, which then started to piss me off. And it's 89 minutes long, and at one point I did actually at one point think, could just go if I wanted to. I'm not gonna, but I could, because I pretty much know what's gonna happen. And that's worrying when you're starting to look at your watch for a 90-minute movie. So go on. What are your thoughts? Then we'll delve a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much there with you, to be honest. I think it's pretty middling. And I think that the point you make there about what's the point is a really interesting one. In the end of the day, these are guys who, with a Horrible Way to Die, You're Next, and The Guest, have put themselves on the map as genre filmmakers. And if they're writing and directing a Blair Witch film, you would think it's because they want to do a Blair Witch film.
Yeah.
And yet it feels like a average mainstream horror film. I mean, just really, really, really average. And I don't know. There's no style to it whatsoever. It chucks a bunch of balls up in the air that it just doesn't know what to do with them. I mean, the ideas of messing about with time and space kind of brought up, and then it's kind of forgotten. The body horror elements kind of brought up, forgotten. It's basically for one cheap, icky scare. The drone. What was the point of the drone?
Yeah, the drone that it goes up and it shows you a shot of the forest.
Yeah.
And it comes down.
Yeah.
And then later on in the movie, it goes up, it shows you a shot of the forest, and then it comes down. And then later on in the movie, it goes up, shows you the forest, and wait, it crashes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
All to get a woman to fall out of a tree.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's all it's there for. I mean, and just bringing up these ideas, excuse me, of modern technology, and they've got all this stuff, and how could they possibly get disconnected from the outside world? And it's just like, because it's the Blair Witch, she can do what the fuck she wants.
Yeah.
It's just, from minute one, it's... You know how this is going to pan out. They're not going to be able to defeat the Blair Witch. I mean,
because that's the whole point of the film.
Yeah, there's an interesting idea towards the end with, like, using the camera feed to look, which is an interesting idea, but then they don't really do anything with that either. It feels rushed. It feels like Lionsgate said, we want to do a Blair Witch film, we want to release it at this time. Do you think you can get together a screenplay in a couple of months? Yeah, why not? We'll give it a go. That's what it feels like to me. And I mean, like, I do believe that Barrett and Wingard had their hearts in it, because I mean, like, their tweets after the box office performance last weekend, they obviously had their hearts in it, and they were obviously really disappointed with how it had been received. But it just, I think they were just having an off experience, and I hope this redoubles their efforts to make original films. If this basically
like the Death Note remake.
Yeah, well, like their bloody Death Note remake, yeah, and which we'll see about that. So I'm. The thing is, nobody knew about this film like 3 months ago. But
no, and what's the really, really strange thing about this movie is, in terms of that, we talked about the trailer for it and said, there's got to be something else.
Yeah.
There's got to be something else, because these two guys wouldn't just make a generic Lost in the Woods horror. And then when it came out that it was Blair Witch, we're like, that was it. That's the difference. That is the thing. Is that it's that, and then it is just a generic Lost in the Woods horror film.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's really nothing to it.
No, there's a couple of interesting kind of sequences in it. The second time they wake up, and there's loads of the fucking things, the made things, around them. That was a pretty interesting little fucking 2-minute sequence. That then they dropped it so quickly. They pulled you out of it so quickly, and then you had the claustrophobia fucking descent sequence, essentially.
Well, or the Borderlands. Did you ever see that? Yeah. I mean,
yes.
I mean, Stuart Barr raised that point to me in a DM on Twitter, and I was genuinely in the cinema just thinking, like, well, they've seen the Borderlands then.
I didn't think that actually, but yeah, it is, yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you're right.
It's the ending of the Borderlands. That whole sequence is the ending of the Borderlands. I was just expecting him to get to get pulled through or something. You know, it's just it. Yeah, I don't know. It just. I mean, it does get nicely intense towards the end. Yeah, I mean, yeah, fair enough. It does, even though it just. I didn't really feel any tension because it was like, right, okay, when are they going to stand in the corner?
Yeah.
When are they going to get knocked on the head and the camera fall over? You know, that's the thing. You never, ever believe that they're actually going to get out of it, so there is no tension. The thing with the original film is that because of, like, I mean, I think knowing that the filmmate, the experience they had filming it actually adds to it. That, like them hearing their friend crying in the woods, which is a creepy idea. And it's a creepier audio cue than anything in this film, and this film just seeks to scare you by doing blips in the audio, which annoyed me to no end. Like that's a potential trend that can stop right now.
It started a little bit, that one already.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, no, it has. But so it just. Next to the original, it is a really, really, really pale imitation. And I mean, also, the fact that the actors don't look haggard. They don't look tired. No. They look like they've just had dirt makeup applied to them.
Yeah, they look like... You know what they look like? They look like they've walked a pretty easy path to a nice purpose-built little plot to pitch tents. They've pitched the tents, they've then walked back, got kind of turned around, and then come back on a nice little country walk and gone, oh shit, we're back here, we better tent up again. And that's it. And the friends that are there, he becomes a douchebag really quickly. And he becomes a dick to the point of where, you know, you look at him going, do you know what? I get it. You're a little bit kind of like, oh, you know, these guys, you know, with their little fucking handy cam that they got from the fucking pawn shop, and, you know, we've come with all this equipment. He looks like a big city dickhead who's gone into the what is it, and he's just been a dick. But it happens really quickly to the point of where, you know, the guy, what's he called? Lane or something like that, is it? Yeah, Lane.
The stoner guy.
Yeah. You wouldn't be surprised if he turned around and just sort of said, because he seems like a little bit, like he's gone down the fucking rabbit hole a little bit, but he still seems fairly smart enough. But it does seem like he turned and go, why even a dick? Why even a dick? Because he is just being an unnecessary dick. And then it's a little bit cliche to have his girlfriend's just a little bit of a cliche, and it just feels lazy.
Yeah.
And just
that the portrayal of that she's a problem. I'm surprised, given how sensitive film Twitter is. I'm surprised that hasn't caused more of a shitstorm, to be honest.
Yeah, because there's one line in it that made me go, that doesn't even have a place in it, which is, did you have a pedicure before we came? Yeah, I did, yeah. What?
Yeah.
What? A, doesn't make sense, and B, that is to literally establish that she is completely out of her comfort zone, right? But if she's that out of her comfort zone, A, why has she actually gone? Yes, alright, you can logicize that. But B, if she's that out of her comfort zone, why does she have all of this camping equipment?
Yeah, no, quite. Yeah.
It just feels all a little bit lazy, but smart ass lazy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I think it's fair to say that this is, you know, again, Wingard and Barrett are actually pretty good with their female leads as well, like Micah Monroe, Amy Zimetz, Shani Vinson. Good, solid, memorable female leads.
They stick to the horror idea of a majority of horrors are led by a female protagonist.
Yeah, but then this girl, she starts off, because that's the bit, again, they bring up the whole kind of like, is she actually there for her friend, or is she there because she wants to make a documentary? And then
they half do it and half not.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then, like, by the time the shit starts going down, they've pretty much forgotten that as well.
And she's just screaming.
Yeah, like, the last half hour or so is basically just people running or hiding, and it dumps all of that stuff, but then it spends so much time on that stuff before the running and the screaming that it's just like, well, we expect it to go somewhere.
I wonder if there's if they've submitted a different cut of this movie, and Lionsgate have gone, no, we asked for a Blair Witch movie, and you've made too much.
They've actually been on Twitter saying they did shoot some extra stuff, but nothing that's that they feel was particularly relevant or would add to anything. So, like, Wingard's already said, this is my cut.
That's just surprising that this is because, you know, like you say, it probably is just a, you know, an idea that they wanted to take on, and it's just got a little bit beyond them or something like that. Not beyond them, that's too belittling of really good filmmakers, and, you know, people, like you say, who understand the genre and understand the tropes and are very good at doing that. But it does feel a little bit, to me, to be honest, like maybe The Guest was the anomaly. Because I wasn't a massive fan of Your Next. I thought it was, to be honest.
Have you seen A Horrible Way to Die?
Do you know what? I really liked A Horrible Way to Die. Everything apart from, I didn't agree with the aesthetic of the editing, which was very much an aesthetic choice.
Yes, yeah.
I didn't agree. I thought, do you know what? I like it, and I like the fact that you've taken a risk with the editing. But for me, it didn't work. But I still like the movie, so it's just a minor aesthetic thing that didn't quite click with me. So overall, if you were to say, did I like it? Yeah, I did like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, so that's the thing. It's. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm disappointed, man. Like, a Wingard Barrett horror joint, I would expect to be better than this. But like you say, I mean, it has got some interesting sequences as a basic horror film.
Well, that's interesting.
What?
I'll tell you what the guy after it, who was in my screening, when the film finished and the lights came up, we both stood up at the same time, and I looked across from me, he looked at me and said, "What do you think?" And I said, and I was about to say, and before you go, what do you like on your horror? As I'm not like I'm not an expert, but it's a genre that I really like and enjoy.
Yeah.
We'll go that far. So, anyway, all right, cool. And I didn't say enough to recognise your t-shirt and your tattoos. Yeah. Anyway, all right, cool. And I said, "What do you think?" I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Guys like me and you, nah. Guys like the friends that I had who went to see it on Friday night and said it was one of the scariest films I'd ever seen, the sort of people who they had ever watched horror, it's great for them. But these," and he said to me, "these guys and this film, ain't pitching to them, it's pitching to us. So it's a bit of a miss." And I thought, do you know what? He's nailed it.
That's fair. I mean, it does make me laugh that this made less than Blair Witch 2 made on opening weekend, and that was like early 2000s ticket prices in the US. That
yeah,
I don't know. I actually really want to rewatch Blair Witch 2. It's been a while.
I've seen Blair Witch 2 a number of times. I've only seen Blair Witch a couple of times. But I've seen Blair Witch 2 many, many times.
Of course you have.
It's terrible, but I fucking really like that movie. Yeah. Well, right. Should we give it its what is it, and then we'll get into the marketing thing?
Yeah, man. Okay, so I'm touching cloth, but pretty close to definitely shit. I'd say it's like a 2.5 5 out of 3.
Yes, so you
out of 5
literally, you're one sound cue out and you'd be, this is shit. I'm pretty much the same. I'd like to say it's shit, but I don't think it is shit. I just don't think it's very good. So I'm there. So that for me is touching cloth. Well, our poll, 15 votes, definitely not shit, 27%. Touching cloth, 53%, and shit, 20%. So, right. I'll let you lead in with the marketing thing that's irritated you a little bit, hasn't it?
Well, on the initial teasers and whatnot on the posters, Brad Miska of Bloody Disgusting, I think it is, one of the scariest films ever made, an unforgettable game changer, blah blah blah. In his review, he puts in a disclaimer saying that Bloody Disgusting produced VHS and VHS2, of which Wingard and Barrett have shorts in. He specifically produced VHS and VHS2. He specifically did. Doesn't say that in his review.
Nope.
I tweeted him quite a long string of tweets saying, genuine question, do you feel it was it was appropriate to say in your review that your site produced those films when in fact you did? Could you not see how it's a bit funny that you're then saying this is one of the scariest films of all time and that's being used front and centre in the film's marketing?
Yeah, because there are, on the original trailer, I think there are 4 quotes and 3 of them are from him.
Yeah, so fair play to him. He didn't tweet me back. I wasn't really expecting him to be honest. But fair play. He was tweeting over the weekend saying, I genuinely think, because he was talking about how he thinks it's the future of horror in terms of leaning towards VR, and which I suppose maybe, sure, okay. So he is kind of slightly adapting what he was originally saying, but the hyperbole in the review is a hell of a thing, and my main point is, how can you be an online critic, write a review like that, and actually feel comfortable with your words being used in the marketing when you have that close and at least business relationship with the filmmakers involved?
Yeah, not even that. It's the... There is no way that a guy who is... I think he's one of the founders of Bloody Disgusting, isn't he? Yeah, right? Who's made a living out of horror films. And a decent living, and all power to him, I'm not criticising that. Right? I'm sorry, I'm calling bullshit on him. There is no fucking way he thinks this is a game changer. There is no way he thinks this is one of the scariest movies ever made. He is throwing hyperbole at it to help his mates out. That's what it is. There is absolutely no way, because when at any point is this scary? It's not. It categorically is not. Anybody who has any kind of basis and grounding within a horror universe, they cannot say that. They might like it. I'm not saying he doesn't like the movie. That's fine. But to go that over the top is just bullshit. It just is. How he can say it with a fucking straight face is just a little bit it's embarrassing. It's sycophantic to the extreme of, oh, really? Either you're going too far to help your mates out, or you're going, remember me when I produced those films for you? Like me again, please, answer my text. I've WhatsApped you, you haven't responded, I know you've read them. it just feels a little bit sad, to be honest.
Yeah, no, sure. I don't know. It feels really, really questionable. And looking at the tweets that he'd had, it looked like nobody had really actually called him out on it. And again, that's surprising. And I think maybe it's not because it's a bit of a, like, he's one of their own in terms of, like, long-standing online film journalists. And I don't know. Hopefully, it at least makes him a bit gun-shy about doing that kind of thing again.
Probably not, because no one's called him out on it.
Yeah, well, yeah. But hey. yeah, I don't know. Read his review, folks. Make up your own mind. It's some fucking hyperbole.
It really, honestly, guys, if you think we're maybe overreacting to it, read the review after you've watched the movie, because we're not. It goes, literally, it feels like he's on the cusp of saying it's one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not.
Even though he actually says in the review, so like some people might not like this film, blah blah blah, but it's one of the scariest films ever made. It's unforgettable. It's a game changer. I don't know, problematic in the extreme. But yeah, there you go, Blair Witch.
One of my most despised phrases used to describe movies: game changer. There's no fucking game to change. You don't need changing. There's films that have brought new life into things, or helped fucking jumpstart, or there are maybe a handful of films that if you're going to use that phrase, you could call game changers. And the original Blair Witch was a game changer, but there's maybe 1-2 every generation, and this isn't one.
No, totally.
At all.
Totally. Absolutely. Okay, let's move on. So, Hunt for the Wilderpeople, directed by and brief cameo by Taika Waititi, and starring, Christ, I don't have the thing up again. Sam Neill, Julian Dennison, the woman who was in Housebound, Rima T. Wiata, and a bunch of other folks. So, story is Sam Neill and Rima T. Wiata play a couple who kind of adopt, foster, look after a troubled young boy, Ricky, played by Julian Dennison. Through a series of events, Ricky and Sam Neill's character Heck end up basically kind of going on the run, or at least going missing in woodlands, and a manhunt is basically undertaken by a Child Protective Services lady by the name of Paula, I think.
Paula.
Yeah, played by Rachel House. Very, very, very bigged up over the last little while. It was originally supposed to come out in August and got delayed in the UK, so even more kind of bigged up because of basically because the amount of time it's taken for it to actually come out. And what do you think of it, bud?
Well, I knew very little about it until you mentioned on WhatsApp about it. And when some message about something rings a bell. Why does it ring a bell? I think it rang a bell because I think Mike went to see like a special screening of it, I think.
Yes.
Like it was Chinchrock versus Punt, and I think he mentioned it then and said it was very enjoyable. And then Noel watched it and he very much enjoyed it. And so I went into it going, do you know what? I'm looking forward to this, and I've liked the other Taika Waititi films. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. The idea that of how they kind of get lost in the woods, and the fact that they're just kind of, there's no, because we're all suppose all the time. So Ricky gets lost in the wood because he runs away and gets lost. Sam Neill goes to find him, and then they think that he's kidnapped him, and so they kind of kind of go along with it and end up going on the run, but not on the run. They're just, it just seems like the easier fucking thing to do is to do something that looks really quite difficult. But it floats along doing it, being really quite charming when it wants to be. I enjoyed the fact that they constantly mock Ricky about being fat.
Yeah.
And he just kind of accepts it, which is quite amusing and quite. I don't think you'd get that in an American movie.
No, totally. Yeah, no. I mean, certainly you'd expect, like, you would expect him to react an awful lot more. Yeah, but he just kind of deals with it. Yeah, for sure.
It's helped by the fact that most of the characters are really quite likeable. But yeah, it's a really nice, sweet little movie, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fantastic. I genuinely laughed out loud on several occasions. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely got his heart in the right place. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, the juggling of tone in it, like, you've got all spoilers all the time. You've got the mum character dying like 20-25 minutes in, and then it cuts from a really kind of gut punchy thing as well, because I certainly wasn't expecting it.
No, I wasn't at all. It does take you by surprise. I had no idea that was the thing that happened in it or anything like that. So it does come out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. And then it cuts to Taika Waititi giving the weirdest fucking like inspirational priest speech you'll ever hear, which apparently was like, according to Sam Neill, was based on a real sermon that Taika Waititi heard.
Do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me. When my grandmother died last year, the priest who gave the service was fantastic and he was really good. But he did tell a really fucking weird story. Yeah. Where at the end of it, after everyone kind of left, I remember me and my mum literally just went, "That story about the Romans, that was fucking weird, wasn't it?"
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, it just, yeah, no, absolutely. But I mean, the way it, you know, it swerves around. I mean, and the fact that it's basically everybody thinks Sam Neill's a paedophile, and it doesn't really ever like bring that up too much.
No,
it's genuinely I like the fact that for laughs, and I just.
They never say paedophile, they call him a pervert.
Yeah.
I like the fact that is the trigger to him going, bollocks to this, we're off back into the fucking wilderness.
Exactly. It's just insanely entertaining, you know, and I mean, it's not like kind of low budget, dingy kind of thing either. It looks really nice, there's some really...
You know...
I mean, there's the montage in it where it's like they're hunting for them in the woods, and like it's kind of like the camera's like panning round or something, and
yeah, you're catching them. They're in the foreground, and as the camera starts to pan round, they become in the background, but a new bit becomes in the foreground.
New characters coming in the foreground, even though it's not in the same place. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's a great sequence.
It is. I mean, and the thing is, it's sometimes when you get people who aren't known as being directors, who are known for something else, you put them in this situation of directing. It's like, yeah, you wouldn't be directing if you hadn't had an amazing amount of success with like the Concords for in this case.
I mean, fuck, he was the best friend character in Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck?
but with this, there's a definite style to it. You know, that is really quite good, but it's not flashy and show off. That's just, it's fun and it makes sense, and it's like you say, there's some really nice little sequences in it, and it ticks along at a ridiculous pace.
No, it's very, very pacey. I mean, it's the length I think it needs to be. If it were any longer, I think maybe we'd start having trouble, but it's a pretty perfect length. It's about 100 minutes.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
Yeah, it is. You know, if you'd have taken 10 minutes out of it, I think you'd have maybe gone, well, what about this or what about this? But if you've added 10 minutes to it, you'd have started to go, didn't need this, didn't need that.
I mean, if 10 minutes out of it meant that the scene where the Child Protective Services woman is on national TV being interviewed, that it's like the most weirdly intense interview ever.
The fact that she's got no child left behind
Just
becomes like
stuck
her
in
mantra.
her head.
Yeah, and the fact that it's our slogan. Well, it's not actually, but it's kind of mine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just like how intense she gets, and she rolls up in that fucking tank and stuff. Well,
she says to the Andy, that the police officer that's with her, all the time, Andy, call the police. All right, wait a minute, I am the police. No, the real police, the ones that got guns. And he just goes, fair enough.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it's got that weird. New Zealand seems like it's ever so slightly shit, but everybody's just accepting that, and that's fine. But it's really beautiful. But everything out there just feels like 2% shitter.
It's a funny thing. It really is. It is. There's no bad guy in it. There's no bad people in it. They're just. It just seems a little bit like it's almost saying, this could only happen here, and I know you think this is ridiculous, but this could happen here. Yeah. It feels a little bit like that, which is really strange. It's kind of mocking itself while also celebrating what is essentially a beautiful country.
Yeah, no, it's a good way of putting it. It just feels like the kind of the country's sense of humour almost.
It is, yeah, and also that, and when you look at it, you're missing the fact that it's amazing that Sam Neill and this kid have managed to survive quite easily, seemingly, in the bush for like 5 months. But you get a feeling that Sam Neill's character would be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't know. I mean, it's really fun. I mean, Christ, the moment when, and it's just a small little thing, but the moment when the kid is in that girl's house and the Flake advert is playing in the background, and then he looks at her, and it's like that traditional, God, she's gorgeous, kind of hair blowing back kind of thing as she looks directly into the camera. But it's the fucking Cadbury Flake music playing in the background. Talking about delicious chocolate.
Which, when you consider the fact that he's a chubby kid, kind of just almost kind of makes perfect sense.
Yeah, man. Amazing. Just amazing. I don't know. I mean, I think it's quite slight, but there's a lot of fun to it. But I wouldn't be surprised if this was troubling my top 10 at the end of the year, to be honest. I had an absolute blast with it. And I really look forward to watching it again.
Yeah, he woke up with that high mind, but it's the sort of film where I'd be... I'm going to read the what is it, the results of the poll in a minute, but I don't know how anyone could really have a negative feeling towards it. Really, it's funny and it's nice and it's sweet without being saccharine or nasty or too zany or anything like that. It feels grounded in something. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, nice.
So I'm definitely not shit.
No, definitely not shit. Yeah.
14 votes. Definitely not shit. 79%.
Sweet.
Touching cloth, 14%, and shit, 7%. So one person just didn't fucking like it. Which, well, fucking hell. But fair enough. You didn't like it, you didn't like it. But yeah, it's, that's a high 79% of people liking it. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, no. Okay, so we will move on. Let's do some what we watched. And Mark, fire away, sir.
I'm just going to go and go to the toilet first quickly because I am busting.
That wasn't just a dump we just heard there, was it, folks? Ooh, that sounded like another one. Oh, it sounded like a big one, a medium one, and a few smaller sized ones. Yeah, totally. Alright.
And I'm back.
Is that a pee or a poo?
Pee.
Yeah, I heard quite a lot of
that. It's an ensuite, so it's right next to the voices.
That's good. That's staying in.
Do you know what? I was peeing to the side as well, so it didn't make too much noise.
No, it didn't work.
Because I didn't think they'll be able to hear this if I just pee. Yes, all right, cool. I watched quite a bit actually. I didn't think I had, and I started putting down what I've watched. So I'll rattle through the kind of the bits where there's not that much to talk about, and get into the ones where there's a little bit more to talk about. I watched the 2000 Samuel L. Jackson Shaft film.
Bloody hell, that's been a while. Yeah.
Because I watched this at the cinema. Nice. I think I was the one person in the UK that watched this at the cinema, and I hadn't seen it since then. And I honestly could not. I remember that Christian Bale played a douchebag in it, but beyond that, I couldn't remember a whole lot. And then it all started to flood back when I saw Jeffrey Wright sat eating the Chinese in his window, and I thought, oh, Christ, yeah, Jeffrey Wright plays the Hispanic bad guy. Oh, this is such a weird film. Nice. And it is such a weird film. Dan Hedaya playing a badass cop is bizarre in of itself. Samuel Jackson is great as Shaft. Do you know what? It still holds up as being a really entertaining Shaft movie. It sticks to the kind of ideas of the Shaft films. Why not? It feels... I like the fact that it's a sequel, without ever saying it's a sequel, rather than just being a remake of Shaft. It makes sense and it has nods to it without ever obviously pointing it out. It's cool the way they've done that. And Christian Bale before he became Christian Bale, essentially. I think this was released the same year or the year before American Psycho, I believe. Which kind of announced Christian Bale as being, something to really kind of keep your eye on. The same year actually as American Psycho. So it's weird that kind of that this and that were released the same year. It's really quite strange. But yeah, still a lot of fun, to be honest. Shaft, really quite enjoyed my time with it. Watched Supernova, which so far I think is the only Walter Hill film I haven't seen.
Bloody hell. God, I think I watched that last year. Yeah.
Yeah, you did remember you talking about it, yeah. It's a fucking mess of a movie. But I kind of enjoyed it, to be honest, for what it was. I was watching it going, again, looking at it going, this is a fucking mess, this movie. And then it finished, and Bex went, what do you reckon? I was like, that was yeah, I kind of quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Will I ever watch it again? Probably not. Did I enjoy my time with it? Yeah. I like the fact that we got James Spader as a badass ex fucking special forces guy, which is not a James Spader thing.
Yeah, not in the slightest. Yeah, quite.
But then you're looking at it going, but he kind of plays it quite well. You got Robin Tunney basically doing Robin Tunney in it, where all she does is kind of look down and look around really quickly and kind of giggle, and that's it. But yeah, I kind of quite enjoyed it. Rewatched Spectre.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
I had more problems with it this time. I really quite enjoyed it in the cinema, but this time I do feel like it. Some of the problems I had with it in the cinema were I liked the Bond bits. I didn't get on with the Moneypenny and M and Rory Kinnear go off and do a little side mission, which felt a little bit like an episode of Spooks.
Sure.
Kind of thrown at Spectre. I didn't get that in my rewatch. It felt a lot more part of the actual film. I liked that. But then I was a little bit, the other side of it, I was going, Christoph Waltz a bit of a shit villain, really. And also, Leah Simpson, it feels a little bit underused. I still think that it's weird that Monica Bellucci agreed to be that slighter character.
Yeah, man, that character really is a piss take.
David Bautista also feels very Bond henchman-y, which again feels a little bit like, you know, you maybe made headway into this being an actor thing with Guardians. Now you're not again. Yeah, it felt a little like that. So I still enjoyed it. I think it's good. I think it feels a little bit like they ran out of ideas, or they were treading a little bit. Like really, like Mendes and Craig got halfway through it and were like, I don't want to do this anymore. But finished it, and I can see why neither of them want to return, to be honest.
Yeah, fair dues, yeah.
It feels like the fact that they're chasing Craig so much feels a little bit like, do you know what? If you're only getting him because you're going to give him that much fucking money, you're not going to get Daniel Craig. You're not going to get Daniel Craig, you're going to get him phoning Bond in.
That's it. He obviously doesn't want to do it anymore, and it just...
Yeah.
I don't know, are people really... Is it worth that amount of money?
Well, exactly. And
you could just give people a new Bond, which is going to generate a shitload of interest anyway.
Yeah, it just feels a little bit like Daniel Craig. He's a little like that kind of like the kind of guy who if he wanted to, and if he really wanted to, he could be quite difficult. You know, most directors say he's great to work with. He's intense, but he's great to work with. But you get a feeling like, if they brought on another director onto it, and they went, right, Daniel, what you're going to do is you're going to swing down that, you're going to run along that, then you're going to jump down there, and then you're going to pull the gun out, and you're going to say this, and he'd just go, no.
I'm fucking not doing that. Yeah.
Not doing that. I ain't bothered. Why? I ate a big meal this morning.
Yeah.
Really big meal. No, I'm alright. Why don't I just jump down there, and I'll put my gun up? I go, no, and he's gone, let me rephrase that. I'm going to jump down there, I'm going to pull my gun out. Why don't you set the shot up? I'm going to go and stand over here for a bit.
Yeah.
That's what he'd kind of be like. And you'd go, do you know what? You got what you fucking deserve because you just threw money at him.
Yeah, straight up.
But he was also like the kind of guy who would take all of that money and just go, do you know what? I don't need this. Hey, UNICEF, do you need this all this money that they gave me to just fucking do these bombs? Do you need this? There you are, have that. He seemed like that's the kind of thing he'd do with it, but I just don't. I genuinely don't think there's an amount of money they could offer him that will make him go yes.
No, neither do I, and good on him. It's a massive waste of time, and let's just crack on with somebody else and let him get on with what he wants to do.
Yep. Next one, I watched the Palma documentary.
Fucking yeah.
It's if you've watched the trailer, and it's a De Palma documentary where essentially it is him sat down talking you through his career.
Sounds great.
You know what? What a brilliant way to do a documentary. And it's directed by Noah Baumbach, whose films I don't get on with, and Jake Paltrow, whose films I haven't watched. But they're not trying to get front and centre. They're not asking him questions. They're obviously asking him questions, but they're just... De Palma's known as being a great raconteur. And an especially great raconteur if he's talking about himself. But he doesn't do it in a Francis Ford Coppola, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you about my genius that you don't understand. De Palma is just very confident in the fact that he knows he's made some really great films, and he knows that he's done some innovative things whilst doing those films. There you go. Anyone who's read Peter Biskin's Ease Rise Raging Bulls, Peter Biskin mentions in there that De Palma was, all these people, Scorsese and George Lucas and Spielberg, they all kind of looked up to De Palma, not just because he was great at what he did, but because he was so confident in the way that he approached everything, and things just bounced off him, and it worked like that. And if any of them had a problem where they didn't quite know what to do with something, then they'd go to De Palma, and De Palma would go, why don't you do this and this and this? And it worked like that. And you get that here. I love the format's fantastic. Start your early life and just work your way through your films bit by bit and do it like that. I'd love it if they went, do you know what? We enjoyed doing that. Marty, do you fancy doing Martin Scorsese or Scorsese? And we'll just do that. And we'll pick this director. And every couple of years, they just pick a director, they sit down and they do it, and it's a series. It'd be fantastic because any documentary film that's about something, at the end of it, you should go, oh, I want to rewatch that. Yeah. I want to rewatch that. Yeah, I want to rewatch that. And it finished, and I went immediately. It finished, and I looked at my watch and went, it's 11 o'clock, but I really fucking want to watch Carlito's Way again. And, I'm going to watch a few De Palma films in the next few weeks. Just because. Why not? He made some fucking great movies. And it's brilliant. If you're a fan of De Palma, it is exactly what you need.
Yeah, just don't watch Body Double.
I'm gonna, because I like Body Double. He talked about Body Double actually within it. Yeah, it's. I like the fact that there's some great little fucking nuggets within it, and also he says the phrase "holy mackerel" an incredible amount of times.
Oh wow, really?
Yes, listen out for it. Z for Zachary or Z for Zachary. Have you seen this?
No, it's on Netflix, isn't it?
Yeah, I watched it the other night. 95 minutes long. Interesting. Margot Robbie's really quite good in it. Chiwetel Ejiofor is a little bit irritating in it. I think he's supposed to be. That's not a criticism of Chiwetel Ejiofor. I think his character's supposed to be a bit of an arsehole. A bit like he always thinks he's the smartest man in the room.
Okay.
And his pain is more than anybody else's pain. It seems to be that. Like if you said, I've seen things in this world. Because the idea is that he's stumbled upon Margot Robbie, who lives in this valley, as this farm, this valley, and it's the only place that hasn't been touched by this nuclear fallout. And he does seem to be a bit of an arse. Then Chris Pine turns up, and Pine kind of he seems like he might not be all he seems, but he might also be exactly what he seems, and it depends on whose eyes you're looking at him through, whether or not you're looking at him through Margot Robbie's eyes or Chiwetel Ejiofor's eyes, and it straddles between which one he is, and that's quite interesting. So yeah, it's the sort of film where I can see why it slips under the radar, to be honest. But it should have got a little bit more attention than it did, certainly.
Okay.
So it's worth a watch, but you're not going to come out of it going, holy shit, why haven't people been talking about this?
It's interesting, because I think it didn't come out in cinemas. I don't think it's even out on like iTunes or DVD. I think literally the first release it's had over here was like directly to Netflix, which is weird.
Which is weird when you consider it's, Chiwetel Ejiofor has a little bit of pull over here, but it's Chris Pine and Margot Robbie. That seems a little bit weird that it's not even got like a VOD proper release or like a fucking third week in March release or something like that.
Oh,
yeah. Other one I watched was watched Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit.
Had you not seen that?
No, I've not seen it, no. Directed by Kenneth Branagh, and starring Kenneth Branagh. and he's the worst thing in his own movie, to be honest. It's perfectly all right. Would I watch another Jack Ryan movie that had starred Chris Pine? Yeah. But then again, would I watch pretty much anything Chris Pine's in? Yeah. You know, Costner's criminally underused. The Keira Knightley, her coming into it, and they end up using her as part of their crew, felt a little bit like, I don't think so. But it was all right.
Yeah.
You know, I watched it on a Monday night, I think. It's a perfectly serviceable Monday night movie.
Nice.
And then the one that I'll talk about a little bit more, High Rise.
Oh, okay. You've seen High Rise now. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So you're very much in the Ben Wheatley is a genius camp, are you?
No, I think High Rise is his weakest film. But I very much like Ben Wheatley, yes.
Yes, right. And I'm a little bit more... I liked Kill List and I liked Down Terrace, but I actively disliked Sightseers. And I thought Field in England was fun, but essentially a fucking student movie. And so High Rise, I went into it with a bit of trepidation because... good cast, really good story. I hadn't read the book. But was a little bit... But where am I with Ben Wheatley? I was a little bit like that. The first 40 minutes, I think, of High Rise are fantastic. I think it's got a great setup. It's got a nice style to it. It shows that Wheatley isn't afraid to kind of to put his stamp on things and to do something that's just a little bit different and to kind of to go for it and to be ambitious. And you can never criticise ambition unless it's done badly, which it isn't here. Then, the middle 40 minutes... Oh, no, I go further. The first hour is really good. Then the middle 20 minutes is indulgent wankery, really. And we kind of stopped it at one point. And I'll be honest, I watched this in 2 bits, because it got to the point in the night where it was too late to continue watching it. So we stopped it, and at a point that I thought was right to stop it. There was 40 minutes left, and we sort of said before, right, we'll pick it up tomorrow. I know it's not ideal to watch films in 2 bits, but sometimes life just dictates that you have to. But I thought, you know what, it's a good time to stop it. Bex, what do you think? So, well, I was really enjoying it up until about 20 minutes ago, and I think that where it goes from here, if it continues in this vein, it'll be a real disappointment. But I could see it also being able to claw it back. And then we started watching it again the next night, and it did. It clawed it back for me. Absolutely. And the last 40 minutes, I think, is as strong as the first hour. I just think there's a middle 20 minutes where it just loses itself and it gets a little bit lost in this montage of chaos that felt a little bit like, do you know what? I get it. You're now overselling it to me, and I want you to get on with telling me the fucking story and stop showing me this, the ridiculous that the High Rise has descended into. Once it got itself back, I think it's really good. It's got a great black comedy to it, and I like the fact that, yes, it's clearly set in the 70s, but it feels like it's set in another world, in a parallel universe of 70s, where, this is what's happened, and the High Rise has become their life, and it's really quite cool in that. The performances are all great in it. Luke Evans, at some point teeters on going too far, but then he does pull it back nicely. And there's a nastiness to it that I liked. So yeah, overall, I thought it was really, really quite good. Actually, by the end of it, I was very much, do you know what? I think when I rewatch this, which I inevitably will do at some point, I think that middle bit won't bother me as much because I know that it's just a 20-minute block. And maybe on rewatch it won't bother me at all because I know that it's taking me somewhere. And I think part of it was a lot of people had said it's great and then it stops being great and then the second half shit. And I think I was worried that, is it a movie of two halves? First half's really good, second half's a bit shit. And luckily for me, it wasn't. Where were you with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a bit of a mixed bag. It does. I agree. It does get waffly, and it's enjoying the surreal chaos quite a lot, and to the point where you are a little bit. All right, let's actually get on with the actual plot then, please.
Yeah.
But saying that, I mean, I think the devolution of Hiddleston's character is pretty interesting. I like how a lot of it is actually the Luke Evans show. It's quite a surprising showcase for him, I think. But yeah, I'm planning on rewatching this again before Free Fire, and I'm intrigued. I was pretty tired when I watched it as well, and it was all a little bit. I think that kind of fed into a kind of the woozy atmosphere of the film. But yeah, it's a weird mixture of movie stars, really good production design, and Wheatley's weird dry humour.
Yeah.
And it doesn't all work, but by all accounts, adapting that book was always going to be difficult anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, what it has done is it's made me go, yeah, I need to read that book.
Sure.
I need to read that book. And the thing is, I personally, I don't know, I think I'm in the minority with this. The way I look at it is, when I'm reading a book that is a film as well, is there's the book and there's the film. And neither influences each other for me. I know that I'll read the book and I might go, oh, I wish that had been in it, or anything like that. But my viewing of the film won't be tainted by me reading the book. I know that, which is why I'm really looking forward to reading the book, because it'll be interesting to go, I wonder what was in it and I wonder what wasn't in it. But I won't go, oh, that's a shit adaptation, because books and films are different. You can't take it and then just put it on a film. It doesn't work like that. They're different mediums, and they read different ways, and they transpire different ways. So it always baffles me when people come out and say, oh, it's almost impossible to make a film adaptation of that particular book. Why? Somebody will fucking do it. That is, you can't imagine it, but somebody else will. Somebody else with a brain that's wired differently, like the people who made this, will see it and will go, right, we need to take the principles and the ideas and everything like that, and then we need to make the movie, and we can take that out, and we can take that out, and that's great. What I felt like I was getting was Wheatley giving me High Rise, which was cool, and I did like that, and it did show me. Do you know what? He's a really strong director, which made me go, I'm really fucking looking forward to what he does next, even though I haven't got on with some of his other stuff.
Nice. Okay. Well, that'll do. That'll do.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Go on. What have you been watching this week?
Okay, so nothing says a week in Mallorca like Munich.
Fucking hell.
So
fucking hell, you watched that on a fucking Sun Lounger. I hope you watched that on a Sun Lounger.
Oh yeah. So it was on Mubi.
Of course it was.
And I was like, I haven't watched Munich in fucking years. Go on then. So 2 hours 45 minutes.
It's a fucking really long film as well.
Yeah, no, it is. But it's pretty great, man. Like,
oh, it's a fucking great film.
I mean, I think it's got one of the most poorly judged sex scenes of all time. I mean, God, the fucking shot where Eric Banner's coming, but it's like he's screaming, and like the flashing of gunfire is over his face, but it's like actually lightning. It's like, oh my.
Spielberg. I can't remember that many sex scenes in Spielberg movies. It does seem like something, a sort of directorial thing he'd be really awkward with.
Yeah, quite. And I mean, yeah, exactly, and it shows. However, the mixture of kind of like political thriller and character drama and like the claustrophobia of the last half hour, 40 minutes or so, I think is really entertaining, but quietly chilling as well. And I mean, he's got some really good support as well. I mean, Daniel Craig's very, very good. Kieran Hines is very good. Jeffrey Rush is very good. Matu Kasovitz is very good. So I mean, it's a pretty fucking stonking cast. And yeah, it's really, I don't know, it holds up, does Munich? It feels like a Spielberg film that's been rather forgotten, and it feels like it will stand the test of time, that one.
Yeah, it does feel like a little bit like the forgotten Spielberg movie. It feels like when was the last time Spielberg made a great movie? Well, Munich.
No, totally.
And people go, oh yeah, Munich was good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, yeah, Munich. I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows.
I still want to watch this.
It's a great deal of fun. It's basically what the first one should have been. It's a cartoon. It's a Saturday morning cartoon. It's fucking...
I want to watch this on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, boom, that'd be perfect. I watched it on like a Saturday afternoon. It was like, yeah, this will do. Yeah. Tyler Perry is bizarrely brilliant as Baxter Stockman.
Of course,
God, his laugh is the best. I mean, Krang's in it. I never thought we'd see Krang in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film. The brain that's like in a robot man thing. And I mean, it's mental. I mean, the whole thing makes no sense whatsoever. But Bebop and Rocksteady are actually really fun. The action sequences are pretty solid. They're good. I mean, Stephen Amell actually from Arrow as Casey Jones is fun as well. It just looks like everybody's having quite a good fun time with it. And yeah, I thought it was really fun. I mean, it's done. It didn't do that great at the box office in comparison to the first one, at least, which I think is a real shame. And this one, I think, was more aimed at kids. Yeah. Instead of trying to go for the nostalgia thing. Though weirdly, the end credits is like the old song and like imagery from like the comics and the cartoons and stuff. And so it's almost like the first one was trying to be a new cool thing, whereas this one just went retro, but the marketing aimed it at kids anyway. And it's just, I don't know, like Turtles was one of my things when I was a kid growing up. So I just had a really fun, nostalgic time with it. It's appreciably better than the first one, if you are so inclined.
I kind of quite enjoyed the first one, so I'm looking forward to it. But I'm going to watch it on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, no, you'll have a good time, man. You'll have a good time. Okay, and I watched two other things. I know one of them. I'm trying to think what the fuck I watched yesterday. The fuck did I watch yesterday? Oh yeah, okay. Bastille Day, or as it's now known after, renamed after the theatrical release for DVD and Blu-ray because of what's been happening in Paris lately. It's now known as The Take. This is Idris Elba and Richard Madden, both playing Americans in Paris. Idris Elba kind of reminds me of Little Britain. You know, Dennis Waterman was like, sing the theme tune, write the theme tune. I think it was Dennis Waterman anyway. Idris Elba basically looks like he went into the production office and went, right, I'm fucking singing the end credits song. Well, I say singing, I'm basically going to talk over it. You can't stop me. And it's really, really weird that it's this film where Idris Elba is this no-nonsense, badass CIA guy with barely a bit of humour to him. And at the end, he's just singing this kind of funk song.
He does that, doesn't he? He's a DJ and he does music in his spare time, doesn't he?
He dabbles, doesn't he? Does Idris Elba? So
yeah, he's on he was on the latest Macklemore and Ryan Lewis album.
Oh, was he? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, doing a song called Dance Off, which is actually quite a good listen.
Okay, I might actually get that up on the...
Give it. It's on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's a fun
Get that
song.
on the old Apple Music. Yeah. Okay. Fair down south. Okay. So yeah, but I mean, it's a pretty generic action thriller. It's basically Richard Madden plays pickpocket who steals a bag off a girl, looks through it, it's like there's nothing good here, chucks it in a bin, bag blows up. Turns out there was a bomb hidden in a teddy bear in the bag. So now the French police and the CIA are chasing him because he's an American on like the Parisian soil. However, there's also some sort of conspiracy related to the bomb and increasing racial tension in the streets of Paris. Hashtags are used as a way of riling up people. And at one point, God, what was the thing I WhatsApped you? What did it say? Like, deploy the hashtags. Or like release the hashtags or something.
Deploy the hashtags, I think it was.
So interesting understanding of social media there. And however, like there's like a conspiracy and who's a good guy, who's a bad guy, blah blah blah. So it's using some interesting.
Send out the final hashtag.
Send out the final hashtag. That was it. I wish it was deploy the hashtag. So there's some interesting stuff in here with regards to the bad guys stoking racial tensions in order to commit their own crimes, which it makes the film feel a bit more of the moment and like it's got something to kind of say than it otherwise would. But it's basically Idris Elba and Richard Madden are mismatched guys trying to stop people from killing them. And it's fine. It's alright. It's like 95 minutes long, or 91 minutes long actually. It's brief. There's some decent action in it. It doesn't look like it had a lot of money chucked at it, but it's solid. It's like a higher tier Luc Besson produced European action film.
Fair enough. It'll get a Thursday night watch at some point on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fuckload better than 3 Days to Kill, but it's not the Transporter refueled.
I'm good with that.
There you go. Alright, so, yeah, there you go. And, finally, Mike and Dave need wedding dates. Which, 10 minutes in, my teeth were itching. So, Zac Efron and Adam Devine play guys...
I don't get on with him. I don't get on with him. Yeah, I don't get why he's...
Yeah, I don't know. They play brothers who make dicks of themselves at weddings. Their sister's getting married. Stephen Root plays their dad, but says, right, you guys have got to get nice wedding dates, otherwise you're not coming to the wedding. They put out a thing on Craigslist. It goes viral. Aubrey Plaza and Anna Kendrick play not very nice girls who trick them into believing they are nice girls, and then shit goes down in Hawaii.
Of course.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes I was fucking hating it, and it's not very good, but I will say it wasn't as bad as the first 10 minutes made me think it was going to be. It's pretty bog standard, like studio comedy stuff. Like, really bog standard, but it was starting off as like worst of the year territory for me, and it ended off like no, it's not quite that, which is a bit of a win, I think. There were a few bits that made me laugh. There was a lot that didn't, but didn't hate it overall. So that's something. It's, I don't know, what, like in your parlance, a Tuesday lunchtime watch? I don't know, but...
That is the sort of thing, it looks a little bit like a Tuesday lunchtime watch.
There you go. Mike and Dave need wedding dates. And that's it for me.
Cool.
And I just, of course I'm running this shit, aren't I? So, I'm just going to have a look and see if we got any emails. I very much doubt that we do, but if we have, my balls will be blown right off. Let me just log in. Of course we don't. No, we don't. Okay.
Cool.
Twitter questions.
Yes. Steve Dixon at the Great SD. What's your favourite movie soundtrack? This is inspired by my first watch of Purple Rain yesterday that you have often talked about. Really fun film. Never thought I'd like his music much, but it was a really good and worked well in the film. P.S. Physical Media is alive and well. I mean, Purple Rain is up there as one of my favourite soundtracks, along with things like also Streets of Fire. I prefer soundtracks to be something where the music has had a kind of a place within the film, rather than just a collection of songs thrown onto a film. So, I mean, you can argue, for instance, Pulp Fiction works in that way because the music have parts within it rather than just being over the top of something. Whereas, you might have a great soundtrack that is essentially just Trainspotting soundtrack, for instance. That's just a really good soundtrack because it's a lot of really good songs thrown together over a movie. Whereas for a soundtrack, I think to be more than that, it has to kind of have almost a part of the movie. So yeah, I'd say something like that. Also as well, I think that, I bought it recently, but I think the Dirty Dancing soundtrack's a great soundtrack. The soundtrack should make you want to watch the movie as you're listening to them.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, if we're if we're talking soundtracks, I mean, I think, like Pulp Fiction, if that's not too boring, this kind of obvious, I suppose.
I've got one. Judgment Night, the Emilio Estevez movie. That had a fucking great soundtrack. It was a hip hop soundtrack, sort of before hip hop soundtracks became really fucking. And it's renowned as being like one of the fucking great soundtracks of its time. I think that the soundtrack actually ended up fucking making as much money as the film.
Wow, bloody hell.
And it's crazy. Yeah, if you go onto the the Wikipedia page for it, it references the soundtrack and gives you like a full fucking rundown. But the soundtrack was fantastic for that movie. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Good film as well, actually.
Sorry.
It's a good film actually as well.
Oh, I've never seen it. Okay.
Judgment Night.
Yeah, no.
Oh, watch it. It's a proper fucking genre chase movie, where you've got Cuba Gooding Jr., Emilio Estevez, Stephen Dorff, and Jeremy Piven are on the run from Dennis Leary.
That's pretty solid, actually. Fair play.
Track it down and watch it, man. It's a great film.
Anything else?
No, I think that's about it. That's it for our questions.
No worries. So next week, Magnificent Seven.
Yes, yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah.
I'm going to try and check out The Girl with All the Gifts as well if I do get a chance.
I've watched the trailer. I've read a little bits about it, and I just don't think that film's something I want to watch.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to Magnificent Seven. I read a headline review today that said it's like the Avengers but with Stetsons. Fine with that.
That'll do. I'm seeing it as I discussed with you in 4DX, which is Cineworld's moving seats bollocks, which I'm going to give it a one-time go to, and it's going to be awful.
Are there really bubbles with like water splashing at you?
It's bubbles, fog, wind. But
that happens to one seat there, right? But is that seat like in the middle of all these other seats where that's not happening?
I don't know. I haven't been like they only decked it out a few weeks back, so I haven't been in that screen yet. So I've got no idea. But I'm fucking fascinated. I tell you now.
I'm morbidly curious as to what the fuck this is. I just imagine now there's one fucking seat in the middle of the thing and you're going to be sat there in this seat. This guy's just throwing you around and just bouncing up and down as they're riding horses, which is going to be a lot, and swinging around and throwing, when somebody gets inevitably thrown into a bucket of water outside a saloon that you're gonna get like splashed in the face. It's just gonna be you in the middle of this cinema going as all these people are sat around going fucking.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean, like, it's basically, if it annoys me, I'm just gonna like walk to a standard fucking seat. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And there's just random seat reacting to itself.
Oh God. Anyway, yeah. So
you might love it. You might go.
Never know.
It's the only way to watch movies.
Stranger things will happen to see, I suppose. I doubt it though. Okay, so that's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you very much for listening, folks. At Dude Foz, at Dude and the Monkey, at Ian Loring, and I'm out unless Mark's got anything else.
Yeah, doingthemonkey.com, and I don't have the results of where we are on the thing, but no, I can remember. You have 38 points. I have 29, and the hat has 27 now. So yes, you're 9 points ahead of me, and I'm a whole 2 points ahead of the hat. And I will be sending you tomorrow the fixtures for this weekend.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, and I got my first fucking win in the fantasy Premier League thing as well.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Last.
And I'm playing Glenn Chapman. I'm playing Glenn this week.
Oh shit, that'll be a fun one.
And I have no bench at all.
Well, they're all injured.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. So yeah, right. Thank you very much, guys.
Good night.